How to discover your money-making talent in just 10 minutes and become a millionaire. Why should you watch this video? Every day, a huge number of people bury their talents in the ground, trying to make money doing something they have absolutely no talent for. And that's a dead-end path. Today, I'll give you a step-by-step plan on how to avoid this and learn how to make money. The problem with most people is that they don't focus on what their strengths are. I have a saying about this. The size of your profit margin or the price of your services depends on how much you've unpacked your uniqueness. The more you uncover your uniqueness, the higher the price you can charge for your services. And the problem people have is, first, they don't know how to focus, and second, the biggest issue is that they often focus on the wrong things. They focus on what can make money, not on their talents. That's why their talent is on one side, and their income or attempts to earn is on the other. When students come to me, the first thing I pay attention to is what they are talented in and what they do best. After that, I teach and guide them to focus only on their strengths. Following the principle, strengthen what is strong.
Margolin Kalevich, someone is watching this video and thinking, do I even have a talent? If I do, what kind is it? And how can I identify it? What are my strengths? Because I know that very often people have talents, but they don't see them as talents. They think it's just a simple skill that everyone can do the same way.
Every person is talented. There are no people without talents. The Almighty created humans, and each person has a purpose, talents, abilities, and temperament given to them so they can fully realize their potential. In Islam, it is said that a person will be accountable in the afterlife for their actions, their body, and the talents and abilities they used. Whether they used their talents, developed them, or not, that is a person's responsibility. Therefore, this is not only a question of earning money. It's a question of living a happy life. How can you discover your talent? Here's a step-by-step plan. I created it based on extensive literature I've read, the Japanese concept of ikigai, and my own experience, and so on. Step 1. Make a list of the things you love. There are as many desires as there are people. Many people want different things, and it may seem difficult to figure them out among so many options. In reality, all people want only 3 things. First, they want to have something just like you. Second, they want to be someone. Third, they want to do something. So, your first step is to write down 3 lists. What do you want to have? Honestly, just sit down alone and write what you truly want to have. Who you want to be, what you want to do. After you've written these 3 lists, put aside the first and second lists, because those things can be achieved by setting goals. They are byproducts of what you do. In other words, what you want and who you want to be are the results of what you choose to do. Now take the third list, what you want to do, and check whether you are actually good at it. To do this, ask your friends and family and make a list of what they think you're good at. Then make a second list, what you think you're good at. And a third list, a list of your achievements, various diplomas, awards, medals, anything that was given to you for something you did well. When you combine these 3 lists, you'll find what appears in all of them. That's what you're naturally good at, your strength and talent. Next, we're talking about making money. And to earn money, you need to understand from the things you love and the things you're good at what people need. For example, a person may love snowboarding and be very good at it. But do people need that? You won't make money just by snowboarding yourself. However, you can turn it around. You love snowboarding and you're good at it. What do people need? People don't need to watch you snowboard. They need you to teach them how to snowboard like you. And so, from the first 2 things, what you love and what you're good at, you make a third list, what people need from that. That gives you 3 main lists to work with. Next, write down what you think about during your free time. Write what you constantly work on improving. What videos do you watch? What audios do you listen to? What books do you read? And write what kind of activity you would personally be willing to pay for. By doing this, you'll discover what you are truly talented at, what your abilities and temperament were given to you for. And by connecting this to what people need, you'll understand what people are willing to pay you for.
How many talents can a person actually have? Is it real that someone can have several of them?
It may not be just one. You can have 2 or 3 talents. Write down 2 or 3 activities where you have talent. After that, you can move forward and create a plan for future earnings. To do this, start by forming hypotheses. Any desire to make money from something is, first of all, a hypothesis. The mistake many entrepreneurs make is that they immediately set a goal like, I want to build this factory, or I want to open a bakery, or I want to open a restaurant. Wait. I often tell them, hold on. Who said this will actually succeed? They reply, well, there are restaurants that work great. And I say, yes, but every case is unique. It worked for them. That doesn't mean it will work for you. That's why you should always question your idea and call a hypothesis. Why is it important to call every idea a hypothesis? Because you don't have exclusive rights to always be right. Everyone makes mistakes. We all do. And we need to minimize the consequences of our mistakes. To minimize them, you have to remove your ego. Otherwise, you won't be able to admit when you're wrong. The problem is that when we say, this is my idea, I want to open a restaurant, we keep pushing forward with it even when it has already turned into a suitcase without a handle. Too heavy to carry, but too hard to throw away. Why do we do that? Because our ego refuses to accept defeat. It says, wait, we're smart, we're strong. We said we'd open a restaurant, so we'll do it out of principle. But that's not how business works. Call every idea a hypothesis. And when you do that, you give yourself permission to make mistakes. Because not every hypothesis works out. The real trick is to walk past your ego on tiptoes, without waking it up, while still admitting that your decision might have been wrong.
Let's say I've already chosen my talent, tested the hypothesis, and earned my first money from it. What should I do next?
If your hypothesis turn out to be correct, and the metrics and numbers confirm that you're on the right track, then there's only one thing left to do: strengthen your strengths. Focus all your energy on what you're best at, on what brings you the most income, and you will become successful and wealthy.
Why does this happen? Let's take 2 people, both 40 years old, each with 20 years of business experience. The first one constantly opens new businesses, goes bankrupt, closes them down, and repeats this cycle over and over. The second one, on the other hand, started a small business 20 years ago and is still running it today. He's satisfied and happy. So, did one of them choose the wrong path, or why does this happen?
I often say that the main measure of success in life is happiness. If you feel happy, then the size of your business doesn't matter. After all, ultimately, 100% of people want the same thing: to be happy. In my life, I've met many wealthy people, but not all of them were happy. However, I've never met a truly happy person who considered themselves unsuccessful. So, when a person keeps searching, trying different businesses, changing industries, and constantly experimenting, it simply means they are still on their journey. They're searching for their happiness and haven't found it yet. Because once they do, they'll find peace. Happiness is always connected with peace, focus, and concentration. When a person finds what's truly theirs, they gain inner peace, understand what to focus on, and are ready to dedicate their life to that one thing. As for the businessman who runs his small company, maybe his business hasn't grown much, but that doesn't matter to him. He's happy, and that's enough. He doesn't need to chase anything more. The key is to live in the present moment and enjoy life.
If we go back to the second entrepreneur, the one who's happy but has a small business, does it mean he doesn't need to follow all those common success tips like scaling, building an empire, and taking over the world? For a person who runs their own business and feels happy, the question of scaling and growth doesn't really arise. Why? Because one of the key components of happiness is doing what you love. If you don't have a passion for what you do, you'll never truly feel happy.
By the way, I talk about this in my book, Mission Possible: The Technology of a Happy Life. You can find it in any bookstore. It was published recently. We're doing what you love. The question isn't, should I keep doing this? It's, how do I stop? I've never seen a passionate person doing what they love who didn't want to grow, expand, or continue. Their problem is quite the opposite. They don't know how to stop. That's why I always say, when you're doing what you love, growth and scaling happen naturally. You don't force it. It unfolds automatically because you enjoy the process itself. When someone starts asking, should I scale? Should I grow? How should I grow? That's usually a sign they don't fully love what they're doing. They're trying to compensate through strategies or tools instead of genuine passion. So, if you're happy and you're running your business with soul, integrity, and good intentions, growth will come naturally. More satisfied clients will bring more clients, and that will lead to expansion. I'm sure many of you are already doing what you love. Describe your feelings in the comments. What is it like to do what you truly love? Do you face the problem of scaling, or are you just enjoying your journey? Share your thoughts. Let others feel the same inspiration.
Energy, what is it for you?
Energy is, in fact, a product of meaning. You see, energy is given from meaning. We have the subconscious mind and the neocortex in our brain. The neocortex is relatively young, just a few thousand years old. It's the part of the brain responsible for logic. Now, the subconscious is responsible for releasing energy. Imagine it as a warehouse manager with the key to the energy supply. And it's the subconscious that decides when to hand that energy out. Meanwhile, the neocortex, the logical part, is like the CEO of a company. And when the CEO works, he consumes a lot of energy. So, naturally, he doesn't appear in the office too often. When he does show up, he rushes into the office and says to the staff, to the hands, legs, eyes, ears, "Okay, everyone, we urgently need to make money." And they ask why. He says, "What do you mean why? Money means opportunity, and opportunity means freedom." Everyone agrees, "Wow, boss, that's smart, great. Of course, we'll work to make money." The CEO leaves. Then all the employees rush to the warehouse manager, the subconscious, and say, "Quick, give us energy." He asks why. "Well, the boss said we need to make money, go on a business trip, do this and that." "Why?" "Well, money means opportunity." "So what?" "Well, opportunity means freedom." "Yeah, that's true," he says, "but freedom also means responsibility. And opportunities also mean risks. Weren't we living fine before? Why should we take on extra risks?" And everyone goes, "Yeah, right? Why take responsibility? Why take risks?" "Exactly," says the subconscious. "So just pretend you're working, but don't actually give results." And that's what we call procrastination. Why does it happen? Because there's no agreement between the subconscious and the conscious mind. This happens when the subconscious doesn't see any meaning in what you're doing. Our subconscious is very selfish. It's focused on survival and reproduction. So when the mind says, "Let's go do something," the subconscious asks, "Why? What's in it for us?" And if you don't have a clear answer, if there's no reason or meaning behind it, your subconscious simply refuses to release energy. That's it. When we face threat or danger, it puts our survival and reproduction at risk. Accordingly, our subconscious mind releases energy at full power, nonstop and in unlimited amounts. For example, when you're starving, your body starts shrinking its organs. Even the heart can decrease in size. But the brain doesn't shrink. Why? Because the subconscious knows which organs are vital for life. The non-essential ones are immediately turned off or minimized. Now, even from a survival standpoint, as soon as you start starving or face danger, the first thing that shuts down is the thinking brain. You stop thinking about your goals, business, money, and so on. Then, the reproductive system is turned off next, because all the focus is now on one thing only. Survive, 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 survive. That's why energy always comes from meaning. If the meaning is great, a powerful purpose, then a lot of energy is released.
What does great meaning mean to you? We've talked about great fear and great meaning. But what about another kind of energy? The one that is calm, steady, and flows evenly? What kind of meaning can give you that?
Look, the greatest kind of meaning, in your terms, the highest quality energy, is given for self-realization, for unfolding your potential. This comes after survival, reproduction, and so on. Our next fundamental need. is to reveal and express our potential. And people are willing to do anything for that. That's what it means to unfold your potential. Because when the Almighty created us, He placed a spring inside each of us. And until we release that spring, it simply won't let us rest.
So, once we've released that spring, what is the key action or the preceding step that must happen in order to unfold it?
When you find a reason why you live, that's your mission, your purpose. Your eyes light up, they start to shine. You're ready to work day and night because you're doing what you love, what you're good at, what people need, and what they're even willing to pay you for. Your eyes are burning, you work like crazy, and you have no procrastination, no laziness. Your only problem becomes how to stop. You're in the flow, unstoppable. Why does this happen? Because, and this is what I teach, there is a mechanism behind unlocking human potential. To unlock a person's potential, they need to set an ambitious goal. Because it never happens that you're just sitting there, wanting nothing, and say, I want to unlock my potential. No, unfolding your potential happens only when you're pursuing a great goal. If I set a small bar, you don't need to reveal your potential to jump over it. But if I set a high bar, you'll have to stretch, train, and push yourself to make that jump. That's why a person's maximum potential is revealed when they set themselves big goals. I say, business people are those who have turned achieving goals into a habit, and great people are those whose great goals made them great. So, beyond survival and reproduction, what gives you energy? It's that big goal, the one that forces or allows you to fully unleash your potential. Then your life becomes full. It gains meaning, and you're ready to give it everything you've got. When you have a process, but no result, that's a problem. We humans dislike two things. When there's a process, but no result. And when there's a result, but no process. When there's a result, but no process. That's the problem of children of wealthy parents. They already have the result, but they've never gone through the process. It's the same here. When it comes to meaning, we don't just need a big goal. We need to make the greatest impact on the greatest number of people. Because in the end, we receive energy from people, from their gratitude, their thank you, their appreciation. And this is where Islam helps. Islam teaches that one of the best forms of worship to the Almighty is serving people. There is another hadith that says, the best among you is the one who brings the greatest benefit to others.